is IBM versus Palantir, first week of the playoffs, round of 32, season number 5 of the Argentower Gaming League of StarCraft 2. VDeezNuts faces RobX. IBM has taken first 3 games, first 3 maps. Sets up this game, match point? I don't know.
Yep, so the playoffs, of course, are best of 7, so if IBM wins here, then we'll be done. If Palantir wins, then we will go on to game number 5.
So real quick, player introductions. I'll start with Team IBM. I'm biased. From spawning in the lower 6 o'clock position, the red Terran from Team IBM, we have VDeezNuts.
Yeah!
Yeah, baby. And spawning in the upper 12 o'clock position, we have the blue Zerg from Team Palantir, RobX. We didn't stick with the color scheme that we decided that we wanted to do, huh?
Yeah, colors are reversed this game.
We're adaptable.
So RobX is taking the super conservative Overlord pathing to check for any sort of proxy wrecks just outside the natural here instead of just floating straight over.
Versus a Terran sometimes, though, you do have to take that risk because if early Marines come out, they could just take those out, and that could actually be a pretty big loss for the Zerg early game. It's an extra 100 minerals you're going to have to spend not on probes or Zerglings.
Yeah, looks like we're going to have Hatch first coming out of the Zerg player here, and it looks like it will be a Reaper opening.
Yep.
Terran.
Nothing too fancy just yet. Maybe we'll see a 1 base. The Zerg player is actually taking a unique stance here, going with the natural outside of his base first. And, you know, versus a Terran, this could actually be hard to defend against, because you've got to deal with things like Hellions and siege tanks after about 8 minutes or so.
Yeah, that'll definitely make any kind of wall off for Hellions near impossible, but if he does hold it, it's gonna make that third really easy to hold, which is always nice for the Zerg as a trade-off.
Yeah, and I feel like we talk about this every week on this map, but
yeah, we do.
I kind of like taking the natural outside the base as well, because it gets the creep spread going a lot earlier, and then it gives you a super safe third base. So a lot of times the Terrans have those timings that are designed to cancel a third base with Reaper Hellion harass, and so if your third base is tucked away and your natural already has a lot of creep spread around it, it makes your lings faster, it makes it easier to defend.
You really need that creep as a Zerg player versus Terran, so you can get away from those Hellions if you need to. Also, to get the surround, though, a big part of Terran play is just pushing that creep back, and if he can do that, he can probably defend a third pretty easily.
Well, Zerg needs Zergling speed right away. He needs to spend that.
So VDeezNuts, he's checking to make sure there was no super quick third hatchery that went down there, and that this is no 3 hatch before pool shenanigans or anything, since he sees that outside hatchery, and he's taking his command center himself back at the natural, which will be scouted by this Overlord. And then going into very standard reactor factory, and 2 Marines coming down might actually be able to snipe this Overlord. So that would be a nice pickup for VDeezNuts. Yeah, he's microing the Marines. I think he's going to get it. So that hurts from the Zerg player, because that will supply block him. He doesn't even have another Overlord started.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. That's 100 gas. He's got to wait for the Overlord and use that minerals. Not that it matters, because he has so many at this point, but...
Yeah, he's banking 400 minerals now with nothing to do. He might just throw down a quick third, because there's not much else he can do.
And his speed's really late.
Looks like he's going to go into Roach Baneling, from the looks of it, with that Baneling nest going down, though we don't see the Roach Warren yet. But we do see Hellions coming across the map.
Yeah, just as I'd predicted earlier with those Hellions, he can just sit there and poke at that natural. So let's see if RobX actually has the micro to stop that. One thing's for certain is that those creep tumors can go down very easily.
This is going to be really hard to hold as long as that Roach Warren isn't quite up, because those Hellions are going to quickly become Hellbats, and even Banelings aren't going to be able to stop those.
Oh, we don't have an armory. Oh, we do have an armory.
We do have a finished armory.
Oh, wow.
So this is going to be quite the push here.
Yeah, so this is a strong push when you've got Marine Reaper and Hellbat, and we can see he's bringing a couple more of the Hellions along. The Zerg player has the tools to stop this. Banelings actually do really good against Hellbats, and then if he can get some Roaches out, those will do really good against this whole army. And we can see 6 Roaches have started. But if VDeezNuts pushes in here before the Roaches are ready,
and there's the
Zerglings are
Hellbat
going to see this.
transformation.
Yeah.
Zergling's not going to be able to do anything against that. Yeah. Reaper
saves the Reaper, so he's immediately... Oh, he tried to evacuate the drones.
A little bit of miss micro on that Queen doesn't take down that Reaper.
The Roaches attacks that up.
He needs some Banelings too. That'll help.
Yeah, Banelings do much better against Hellbats. And he lost 2 of those Roaches kind of out in the open, and just having the 4 here is probably not enough. The 6 might have been enough.
Little bit of fancy pullback micro with the Hellbats, just keeping them alive where they can. The other one just, the really hurt one, just going to town on this hatchery over here.
Yeah, this looks really good for VDeezNuts, because he's behind this, his 3rd command center is finishing up, and he's going into Cloak Banshee, so kind of as another form of harass. So he's delaying mining time for the Zerg. He hasn't really killed any workers, but he forced out a lot of units, and he's taken the advantage in workers.
Yeah, we see 2 factories going down. Looks like we're going to be seeing some serious mech play here out of VDs.
It's going to be really tough for these Roaches to deal with. Banshee's going to be out before the Roaches can even get to the front. So it's going to start picking away at those. Hellbats are back behind. They could counterattack pretty easily right now with no Roaches back there. But it's going to make this hold a little tougher at the main of VDeezNuts.
Yeah, there's 4
Needs to lift
Hellions.
that supply depot.
Oh no.
Come in, yes, come in.
Start going to work with the Banshee too. Yeah, having that supply depot down was... I mean, the Roaches could have got through pretty easily. Oh, but letting... Yeah, okay, he stops.
Yeah, it would have given him a little bit of a warning here. So he did end up losing some Hellions.
And
He's going to take out plenty of drones, though, in the meanwhile, to make up for this.
Yeah, 17
so we'll see
drones
who comes out ahead.
Not a single SCV lost so far, and 19 drones have fallen.
Well, the Lings are going to start going to work here, picking away at that giant SCV line as it rallies between bases here to try and hold on. As the Banshees will clean this up eventually, and Hellions still just going to work in the main of RobX.
Wall is still down. Lings are still doing some work in the Terran's main here, but they do finally get cleaned up. Hellions still doing work in the Zerg main. Total workers killed. 23 workers killed for the Terran player. 13 workers killed for the Zerg player. So,
it's going to put VDeezNuts up 38 to 22, or I guess 38 to 27 now in worker count. Plus the...
Not to mention all those mules he can drop. And he's got 3 bases producing SCVs.
Probably not what VD's wanted, since he did have the Banshees ready and just needed to put up that wall, but still a good position to find himself in here.
He's forcing out a lot of Spore Crawlers. There's 3 Spore Crawlers in the natural, there's going to be 2 in the main, and these 3 Banshees are actually going for the 3rd base.
Where there are no Spore Crawlers.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for the Zerg player.
And normally you want to be about you kind of have to play Zerg against Mech the same way you do against Protoss, is you almost always want to be a base up. And it is a Zerg's worst nightmare to be behind or to be even in bases, let alone behind, as that third base for VDeezNuts is up as the Banshees start to go to town. Finding a nice little gap there between the Spore Crawlers to pick away at that Baneling nest. I'm going to go back and stop the Spore Crawler from coming down in the third.
Yep, 10 more workers killed so far. And yeah, he's with 3 Banshees here, you can out DPS building Spore Crawlers very easily.
Going to take out the Queen with a little bit of help from Cloak.
Zerg tried to do a bit of a roach run by there, but there's enough mech on the low ground that it didn't get anything.
Little hard to run a few roaches into a Thor and a couple of tanks.
So supply is now 114 supply for the Terran player versus just 43 supply for the Zerg player.
Was about to
workers
lose.
are showing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the third's going to go down here. It's 60 SCVs to just 31 drones. It looks like the Zerg player just dropped a Spire.
Wait.
So
Whoa. He was attacking his poor command center.
Little bit of a misclick there.
Maybe VDeezNuts thinks he's too far ahead, so he needs to kill his own.
that's his handicap.
That's his handicap.
Dice. Die.
Alright, well, and we also don't really have any upgrades for the Zerg player. Terran about to finish +2 attack. So we'll see what kind of army composition he wants when he chooses to push out here.
He's building a 5th command center.
Really just taking the safe approach, getting what he can. We'll
Yep,
might even throw those down as planetary fortresses when he gets a chance, just to make sure he's as safe as he can manage.
He's really making it happen here.
Oh. Your puns are OP, sir.
He started +1 air, but he has enough gas to build about 6 or 7 mutas. But with this many Thors out already,
Oh man, look at this force.
There
man.
aren't really any missile turrets up yet, so it might be a kind
Counter.
of tough hold to do without that. Though we'll see if VDeezNuts gets some missile turrets up. Even if he doesn't, mutas are going to be hard pressed to hold this attack, and base trade definitely should favor our Terran player.
Yeah, this is going to be almost impossible to handle right now. This, actually, I don't know. Nope. Yeah, this pretty much looks impossible.
Way too big.
yeah, the mutas are not countering, and there's just not nearly enough Zerg here
Oh,
to
and
deal
the
with.
banelings into the tank.
Just getting
Yeah,
cleaned
there it
up.
is.
And
Yeah.
that's going to be GG.
It's the GG.
IBM will take it 4-0.
Go team.
All right. All right, that concludes week number 1 of the playoffs. We'll see everybody here next week.